For more on this, we are joined by Hans-Jakob Schindler. He is the Senior Director of the Counter-Terror Extremism Project in Berlin. And Hans, in Canada, we woke up to this news this morning. Let's begin with your reaction to German police arresting suspected domestic extremists for allegedly planning an attack on the parliament. Did this surprise you as it did us here?
Well, I mean, this was one of the, if not the largest counterterrorism operation on German soil since 1945. 3,000 police officers in 130 different locations, arresting 25 individuals, 27 individuals under further investigation on top of that. Yes, it was surprising as far as the scope and scale is concerned. But unfortunately, this is not the only violent cell that has been discovered from the broader violent right-wing extremist spectrum in Germany over the last couple of years. Since 2019, the Federal Ministry of Interior has consistently judged that violent right-wing extremism is the largest domestic threat against security. And this morning really brought home that point again.
Tell us more about this specific group, the so-called Reich Citizens Movement. What's the basis behind this group?
So this group exists for decades already, started in the 1980s. It's a conspiracy theory movement that holds that the German Empire, the Reich, did not end with the end of the Second World War and the founding of the Federal Republic of Germany in 1949, but continues, and therefore all political institutions on the local, state, and federal level are therefore illegitimate. So for the first couple of years, these guys did weird things, but essentially harmless things. So they printed their own passports and ID cards. They refused to pay taxes, which was quite annoying. They harassed local authorities, pretty much similar to what you call the sovereign citizens movement in North America.
Yes.
But increasingly in the last couple of years, they turned to violence. More weapons, shootouts with the police when individuals got arrested. And today was really the worst expression of that.
We've heard a lot about QAnon on this side of the pond, but this group is alleged to have believed in QAnon ideologies, which also have been linked to far-right extremism here in North America. So is there a connection, Hans, between this movement and the movements we're seeing here in North America?
Well, bizarrely, QAnon has really caught on in Germany. It is the country, the only non-English-speaking country where QAnon really has a wide adoption among conspiracy theorists. And here, in this group, the Reichsbürger movement, so the feeling that the state is by definition illegitimate, and QAnon elements of the narrative, i.e. there is a deep state and there was, in their thinking, an alliance of some unspecified intelligence service about to intervene in Germany to counter this deep state, really coalesced. Really bizarrely, the investigation against this cell came out of another investigation that was looking into another part of the Reichsbürger movement, a cell that was planning to murder the German Federal Minister of Health, Karl Lauterbach. So you have an intersection of QAnon narratives, COVID denier narratives, and the Reichsbürger movement really coalescing into one single little cell here.
We've recently seen a wave of far-right politicians being elected in parts of Europe, France, and Italy. How big of a role is mainstream politics playing in rising extremism in Europe? And is right-wing extremism on the rise throughout Europe?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's really important to understand one member of the cell that was arrested, so of the 25 core suspects today,
yes, the female,
was a former MP, was a former member of AfD in Parliament. Now, was an active judge until this morning in Berlin. So there is an indirect connection. Of course, these populist parties, the AfD in Germany, other partners in other European countries, because they are in Parliament and therefore have a broader platform, can normalize or bring in extremist narratives, like, for example, the race replacement theory,
yes,
into the broader mainstream discussion, and therefore give legitimacy to this kind of narratives. The call here for the right-wing movement in Germany, in translation, means make the unsayable sayable again, i.e. narratives, things that were unimaginable to say by politicians 10 years ago, are now slowly pushed into the mainstream. That's the political side of things. On the operational side of things, not just the AfD, but other more radical right-wing parties like the NPD or the Third Way actually consistently act as a measure where the party would for example, register an event, a concert, or a gathering, therefore giving that gathering a higher level of political protection, because this is a democracy, and if political parties register an event, be it a concert or a discussion group, then of course the German judiciary and police cannot really intervene because it's now a politically protected event.
Yeah.
So they serve for this and then help their more violence-affine members to also, operate inside Germany.
Hans-Jakob Schindler is the Senior Director of the Counter-Extremism Project in Berlin. Thank you for your insights on this, Hans. You know your stuff.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to talk to you.